And we are here to vote and deliberate on the best hardware of 2020. This is a very large category. Gaming consoles, GPUs, whatever else in between. CPUs, VR headsets, come one, come all. Come on down to Shacknews, and we will judge you to determine who is the best. So who wants to get this kicked off?
I'm going to jump out ahead of this because I'm probably not going to be talking much during the other parts. All sorts of shit came out this year. You can't buy any of it, so that's a real boner. And one of these things you can't buy is a GTX. Oh, we got it wrong already. RTX 3060 Ti. It's the newest of Nvidia's new video cards this year. It's also the cheapest of the RTX 30 series. It's faster than the previous generation 2080 Super, which was an $800 card. This card, MSRP is for $400, uses half the power. It is faster. It's almost as fast as a 2080 Ti, which was a $1,300 card last year, up until this fall. It should be more widely available than the other cards, and most people don't buy $800,000 video cards, so the $400 and under market is going to be much bigger, much more impactful. And this thing is an absolute beast. It brings ray tracing to a lower price point. Also DLSS for the games that support it. This thing is going to be capable of running 4K 120 in lots of games at a good price point that would not have normally been the case. So that's my argument for that particular card.
That's RTX 3060 Ti.
3060 Ti. This thing came out yesterday. It is that new.
Mm-hmm.
I've heard a lot of words and I heard a lot of numbers. I think they all make sense.
I'll second that, but I'll raise Chris for the whole RTX line in general. I think is an impressive lineup, giving PC users, both professional, casual, and gamers, the option to buy the card, option for the model card they want to get inside their machine. If they want to go crazy and get the 3890, they can. They can also go, cheaper and get the 360 or 370. Just watching Asif's and Chris's reaction to the stream when they were showing all the RTX cards, I've never seen Chris so excited and psyched on everything they showed.
It's honestly, I'm gonna one up you, Greg, and say that Jensen Wong's spatulas were more impressive than anything.
Oh my God, they're behind the spatulas.
I want to change my vote for the accessory of the year to Jensen's spatula.
Yeah, Jensen Wong's spatulas is the gaming accessory of the year.
Like what Chris said, it sucks that you can't buy them because of the scalping and COVID affecting manufacturing. But they're still really, all the cards are still really impressive, and they give a lot of people what they want, which is variety and options to build the PC they exactly want to build. Which I think
Greg, you're building a new PC because of this.
Correct.
Release, right?
I bought a 390.
Yeah, 3090.
Yeah, 3090.
Yeah.
I hope you didn't buy a 390. That would be terrible.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I did.
3090.
It's an AMD card from 6 years ago.
That's going to be life-changing for your workflow, though, right, Greg?
According to stuff that I've researched, it's going to increase my overall performance of my PC 92%. So it's it's just insanely huge upgrade. I couldn't say no.
When it comes to video editing, it's going to be night and day compared to a 980 Ti.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of rendering certain things and effects is going to be much faster, including with the new CPU. But just the I was considering just getting the card and not even getting a whole new PC. But it's still it was time. That line was so impressive. It was just time to upgrade. I've had this.
I was worried that you weren't going to be able to fit your 3090 in your case because that's a big chunky GPU.
No, it would fit. I was more worried about power and just finding one, for Christ's sakes, Chris said. Yeah. There are literally eBay. There are pictures of people having just 3 cases of 390s and 380s. They're fuck you. The scalping market's really bad for those cards right now.
For everything, it's the same bots. The same bot network is just pillaging the entire internet right now, and we just saw it again with the PS5 that went on sale for 10 minutes earlier today from Sony Direct.
But this will pass. This will eventually pass, and then everyone will be able to pick the card that they want. It just may take 8 months, But that's really, I think they're just super impressive hardware. Where it is,
it'll
and what
definitely
the price
pass.
Point is.
The shortage on the 2080s hasn't passed, dude. It's not gonna pass. It's not passing.
Yeah, I think it's
not passing
different now. I think there's a secular shift going on, Greg, where people are really, I think because people are stuck at home, especially, they're spending more times with their rigs And I just think a computer, or maybe buying a second computer for your house, is becoming more of a thing when you have two breadwinners working from home and kids that are having to study from home. Like, I just think that demand for PC parts, I don't think is going to just magically go down. And even this year, building a PC, some of the weirdest parts were the ones that came into constraints. Power supplies had shortages for most of the year. So it wasn't surprising when you had these brand new high-tech devices that there were going to be shortages, especially because I think the original allotment were being air freighted over, but that dips into the margins of these GPU companies, so then the rest of these are on boats. But yeah, this is, I think it's going to be hard to beat both Chris and Greg's nominations. A game that I'd say the one thing on here that kind of is different than the others is Mario Kart Live Home Circuit. So maybe we could talk about that a little bit.
I love that Nintendo just comes with these outside the box stuff like every year. Like they always have something weird. It's like, what are you doing? And yet it's somehow. Remember how much I crapped on Ring Fit Adventure when they first unveiled it? I'm like, what is this? And then they released it. And it's just like, oh crap! It's.
Do you remember what I said?
What did you say at the time? I don't remember.
I said the balance board outsold the PS3.
I do remember that.
And I'm like, that Nintendo knows that, like, there's this weird intersection of health and gaming that they sometimes run into, and when they do, it's like magic.
When the pandemic started, like the Ring Fit just sold stupid numbers, and right now Mario Kart Live is selling stupid numbers right now. Because try finding it right now.
It's
like, I don't think anybody has it.
No, it's selling out like it because Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is the most popular Switch game, and you could argue Mario Kart's like one of the most popular IPs they have. So it was really smart to do this. I know it's not necessarily hardware, but like seeing Nintendo license their IP out to Lego also this year, I thought was a really big deal. But yeah, like Nintendo makes products where you're like, huh? But it end up, you know.
To Ozzy's point, like at first glance, you're just like, but then it kind of makes sense, and you realize, oh yeah, this is a niche that was always kind of needed to be filled. Like, and out of all of that, I feel like the Mario Kart home circuit makes the most sense. It's like, oh yeah, well, there's already a Mario Kart video game, and there are RC cars, so this is like the marriage of the two.
Yeah. No, they're not doing. I think the innovative part is throwing an AR camera on that and turning the Switch into an AR remote control device.
Agreed.
Like, that's pretty damn impressive that they were able to do that with, you know, and not make it the world's most expensive device.
Yeah, that's crucial.
They're
so good
really
at that.
Cool. They've really done some cool stuff with the Switch this generation. I'm really impressed by the chances that Nintendo's taken, and they could have done like more stuff like 1-2 Switch and done like gimmicky stuff like that, but they've taken chances with like Mario Kart Live, with Ring Fit Adventure, with Labo, with stuff like that. Like just the experimental stuff is,
or even remarkable. Jump Rope. Like that game that came out during the pandemic, like out of nowhere. Nintendo, like 3 devs over at Nintendo are like, hey, we made this game that uses a function of the Switch, the motion control sensors and the Joy-Cons, and actually created a way for you to jump rope, you know, in your house.
It's a really cool idea, and I wish they hadn't put like a 6-month limited time thing on it. Stop doing that, Nintendo. Stop saying, here's a cool thing, you can only get it for 6 months. Stop doing that.
It gets people to buy them though, doesn't it?
It does.
That's right.
It's free software!
I know, it was, in the case of Jump Rope, I think that was just something that they had hacked together. No one was expecting that.
They literally hacked it together like during the pandemic.
Yeah, they were bored, so they made something that didn't exist that they wanted.
No reason you shouldn't be able to get it right now.
Yeah, I agree. But I thought, you know, it kind of speaks to that experimental nature that they've had this generation. I think Mario Kart Live Home Circuit kind of encapsulates that spirit. And it is very different compared to the rest of the stuff on this list. I felt we should give it a second to kind of tip our caps to it.
Yeah.
I will say that it does kind of suck because they don't work very well on carpet, and all the videos I've seen where people racing these live in these gigantic houses, and I'm just like, well, I don't have that much space to drive.
I have a tiny condo, and it's the only reason I don't have one myself.
Yeah.
So your negative for the review, Greg, is wealth disparity.
It's a thing.
I mean, wealth disparity is a huge thing right now.
I mean, yeah, I would.
What's
love
the
this
deal with that
product.
anyway, Austin?
Yeah, what's the deal with wealth disparity? I mean, come on.
There are a lot of haves and have-nots out there, as evidenced by people trying to get a PS5.
But to Nintendo's credit, it doesn't cost an arm and a leg to buy that thing. If you already have
True.
a Switch, it's still not.
Yeah,
it's not like you're
$100.
spending $200 or $300. It's $100.
Also,
right?
I kind of hope you get one and set it up somewhere because I'd love to see.
I have it.
Like, oh, you do have it? Have you set it up yet?
No, but
okay.
what I wanted to do was have you bring your Switch to the office. You play as Mario, I play as Luigi. Lola's the ref, and we race around the office.
That's kind of what I want to see, like how Lola reacts to this car, just like kind of scooting and stalking after her.
She's gonna mess it up.
Yeah,
She's gonna destroy that thing.
Are you gonna Sharpie and draw angry eyebrows on Luigi for when Mario crosses the finish?
You know,
I wish that they
that's the
offered a
best
separate
part.
head.
That's the best part. Like you, a little bit of one little touch up, and all of a sudden you got Luigi throwing shade, like the whole time.
They
It's
should have
perfect.
shipped with Luigi Death Stare as the default face.
They should.
They really should have. But I'm really hoping that we're gonna get more of these. Honestly, like,
Yeah, I would
wanna
love a
be-
Yoshi cart or a Toad or a,
If they put out a Bowser cart on their day one.
you know.
Right.
I want a Link card. Since Link's in the game now,
Yeah.
I would love a Link card. But from Mario characters like Yoshi or Toad would be cool.
I
And
always
think they're
in
gonna
the original.
release them.
I was a
like this,
Yoshi
like-
main, so I would
Yeah,
love
yeah.
to see Yoshi.
I think we're gonna see more of this, and I think they're gonna release them in like pairs like that, like two
Yeah.
at a time. Maybe we'll even get Waluigi.
I'm guessing we get Toad and Peach next.
Just makes
I'm
sense.
I would
gonna-
guess. I
I
would
think
think
Yoshi.
Yoshi with
Yoshi.
Yoshi and Peach, or Yoshi
and Peach.
Peach
Yoshi.
and Bowser.
Peach and Bowser.
Yeah, because
Yoshi,
Mario, Luigi,
yeah,
Peach,
Yoshi
Bowser,
and Toad, and Peach and Bowser.
Like,
Either
those
way,
are all the
The
originals.
fact that we're sitting here and we want to buy more of these, or we want more of these, speaks to just how neat and different it was, in a year.
Agreed.
Well, I want to buy a lot of things, and I know Blake's going to talk about Arcade 1-Up in a second. Like, talk about wealth disparity. If I had more disposable income, I would definitely buy some of the Arcade 1-Up stuff.
And
Dude,
space.
did you see the sit-down drive cabinet they just put?
Yes, I just saw that.
God, it looks so good.
The Outrun cabinet. God, it looks so cool.
Mhm.
Ugh.
So the Golden Axe cab is freaking rad. But this year they put out a Miss Pac-Man cocktail cab. Like, it's a personal goal of mine. It's like a life dream to own a Miss Pac-Man cocktail cabinet. Like, that's like one of the things I want to do. And now they've just put one out that's super accessible, which is like basically what I've been waiting for them to do. So I'm like, hells yeah, I'm like 100% behind that. And I think it's cool what they're doing. It is definitely like an expensive thing no matter what, but it's much more accessible than it was, and it's smaller usually, which means it's easier to fit in the smaller spaces, which is good because I have too much shit in my tiny apartment already.
I think it's good too because it's practical. You can also use it as like a coffee table. You know what I mean? Like it's not just the thing you put in the corner. You can actually use it to put things on.
You can have breakfast with Miss Pac-Man.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be doing that anyway.
Hey.
I just remember
Ah.
our local Pizza Hut having a cocktail cab for Miss Pac-Man, and
Yeah.
after going to after eating dinner there, like waiting for
It
my
was-
parents to pay and like playing a couple games on it.
Don Poncho's. had
It was
one.
IHOP for
Yeah.
me. IHOP in Pasadena.
Yep.
Yep.
No, it's the member berries that flow. Greg, like we've had the opportunity, and Ozzy too. Like we've had the opportunity to go to CES in the past, and the Arcade 1-Up booth is like one of my favorite tours that we go
It's
on.
always so cool.
Oh my god, that's something that they always have in the works, and that they keep iterating on this stuff. Like putting online co-op or online multiplayer in NBA Jam was
Yep.
such a cool idea. And then there was something else that Blake's going to talk about, speak to more in a second. But I went to CES this year, and I saw that they were working on pinball, which yes.
I'll just let you speak to that, Ozzy. You go ahead, buddy.
Oh, man.
You just dance.
Well,
You just
I saw the
dance
thing-
and I'm gonna watch.
Well, I saw the thing for Star Wars pinball, and I'm just like, okay, so basically, it is a pinball cabinet small enough to keep in your home, but the panel is basically a digital panel with the Zen Studios Marvel pinball and Star Wars pinball games, like all preloaded. So they've also made it so that you get like the tactical feedback from like a standard pinball machine, but what you're playing is just basically like the Zen Studios pinball stuff. It's just such a cool integration, such a cool collaboration. I want one of these for my home very badly, but again, I live in a small condo and it doesn't fit in here. But I can't wait to see more of these pinball collaborations, and that they didn't expand to pinball before this was just like, I can't believe it took this long.
I think it's one of those things where this company that they were growing so damn fast that they had to say no to stuff while they were scaling. Otherwise, they would have collapsed in on themselves with too many SKUs. So they have to be tactical with how they release stuff and how they keep inventory.
They really have been, even down to which game. You know, every cabinet includes multiple games, but they know exactly the game to give the marquee art on the cabinet to. Mm-hmm. Like Blake, I'm a huge fan of Golden Axe. I saw that cab, not only that the game's on there, but that they included the artwork, the multiple joystick settings, and I was like, oh shit, I might have to get me one of these. You know,
what games came with the Golden Axe cab?
It's
1 and 2, right? 1 and 2.
Yeah. And then it's also got Shinobi and Altered Beast.
Those are like perfect fucking
Altered
choices.
Beast.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah. Those are perfect choices.
And
Wrestle War. Yeah, it's also got a fifth game.
Oh my gosh! Why don't I own one of these?
Seriously, that's like if you're a Sega fan, that is the arcade cab to get right there.
Yeah.
Dude, they had Shinobi at the Pinky's. Pinky's Pizza is was a place where I would go all the time, and they always have like super cool arcade games. And Shinobi was one of them, like that I remember just loving back in the day. I've bought it several times already in like virtual arcades, so it's cool to have it on an actual arcade cabinet. Same with Strider.
What one-up cabinet are we nominating for best hardware?
I wanted to go for the Miss Pac-Man cocktail cab.
Okay.
I want to nominate the pinball cabinet.
Is that out?
Yes.
Okay. Because it's all that was. I saw that with you, Ozzy, at CES, but that was like 1,000 years ago in January.
I am looking at the GameStop listing right. Oh, it's out next year.
Yeah.
Oh, they pushed it back.
They did.
Oh, it does not count.
Okay.
So we're gonna be back talking about this next year.
Overruled.
Ozzy's like, prepare yourselves. 12 months. The clock is ticking.
No, I agree, Ozzy, because that was something that I was very interested in, because I really loved how they turned the pinball table itself into a display.
We might be talking about that seated cabinet too next year, the Outrun arcade that TJ was just talking about. That's set for January. So, God, arcade one-up, just a staple in this category.
Yeah, for sure. Yep. Well, they'll probably be back next year with another nomination. Okay.
By the way, if they're in the business of seated cabinets, Cruisin' USA needs to happen at some point, right, Asif?
Yeah. What are they doing?
You know what game I want to see? I want to walk into my house and hear Daytona.
I just want cruising, cruising the world.
But I'm off on a tangent. I'm sorry. Let's go to the vote.
Don't get me started about Cruising USA.
Wait, I feel like there's other things. Yeah.
I need to tell you all about one of the greatest tragedies in new technology, which is saddling something and I say this with all my heart, as meaningful as the Oculus Quest 2 with all the corporate bullshit of Facebook.
But see, that's why I think it's not going to win right there.
Well,
I'm going to talk to this on the merits of the hardware.
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Agreed.
I think that Oculus Quest, and I hate Facebook. I'm short the stock. Oculus Quest is the most accessible VR headset. Period.
It is my Half-Life Alyx machine in a time when I never thought that would happen within the next foreseeable future. Mm-hmm. And like it is for a lot of people as well. I'm seeing more people, like more of my friends, more of my colleagues are asking about VR, getting into VR, asking me questions about what they might need with this thing in addition to actually buying it. And it's so cool to me to see like that this device is so versatile, because it is very versatile. the fact that you can get the device by itself for $300 plus tax, get into the market and play games like Saints and Sinners, and then play and Beat Saber and a lot of other pretty decent VR games, Tetris Effect, a lot of other pretty decent VR games. Like, they have a good ecosystem for the Quest 2. And then you just need to get yourself a cable, and as long as you have a decent computer, you can make the jump over to doing some PC VR as well.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say it's the most perfect solution.
This is the product that killed the Oculus Rift.
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
I hate that Facebook owns Oculus, specifically because of this product. Because it is so damn good for what it does for entry-level VR and what it delivers to a community that was otherwise just like, VR was out of a lot of people's reach. Half-Life, the reason why Half-Life Alyx is going to be a hard sell, Asif, is because the technology to play it is just so far out of people's reach before the Oculus Quest 2 showed up.
Oculus Quest 1 existed, but yeah.
Yeah, and but even then, you look at the specs of the Oculus Quest 2 to the Oculus Quest 1, and I don't know if you could run Alyx on the one.
It would look like crap most likely. But yeah, the iterations that they've done, I mean, it's really impressive. There's a philosophical difference that I think inside out tracking versus the Lightroom strategy, that philosophy leads to a worse VR experience at times, in my opinion, because there is occlusion that occurs. Now, there's occlusion in the Lightroom as well, but it's way less often. And that breaks immersion. To me, that makes it a less high-quality VR experience. But if you're just talking about a product, last night Blake was talking about trying to pick up a Virtual Boy. He's a collector of systems. I was like, dude, just get an Oculus Quest 2 instead. Because Virtual Boy is selling on the open market for $300 or $400 because there's so few of them. And I'm like, you can get an actual VR headset that isn't trash for that price. As much as I'm not going to vote for this, because there is an element of the hardware experience that's horrible, and it requires a Facebook account to use it. If you create a Facebook account, a second Facebook account, you run the risk of bricking the system entirely.
Yes, if Facebook's policies find out that you're messing around, then they'll just cut you off, and
all your purchases are gone.
Whoa!
You cannot get your purchases back, and your system is bricked.
And man, that's what drives me so crazy.
That's why this can't win. Is that it is an amazing piece of hardware, but the software experience and the service experience breaks it. Literally breaks it. In a way that other video game hardware doesn't do. Yeah. It's not, they didn't have to do this. That's what bothers me. They didn't have to do this. They chose to do this. They already had the Oculus platform, the Oculus Home, Oculus accounts,
Yeah. The moment they were like, "Nah, we're making everybody use Facebook accounts now."
It's all part of this bigger thing that they're doing right now to force everything into the same ecosystem. You know how they're merging Instagram Messenger with Facebook Messenger with what the fuck is that other thing? WhatsApp Messenger. They're all fusing them into one thing. They're doing this now while they can get away with it before those 20 antitrust lawsuits hit them. And Oculus Quest is going to be at the center of this too, because the way they're behaving is just super anti-customer, and that's it just sucks. Because otherwise, this is a slam dunk win.
It is so good as far as the verse. Literally, all I have to do is walk behind me, put on the headset. It takes me literally 15 seconds to be ready to play VR. That is, and if I want to move it to another room, I literally just walk the headset to another room and draw a new area. That's so good.
It's so
And-
much easier than a tethered VR system. And like, I would love for Valve or HTC to make a viable competitor to the Oculus Quest form factor.
Yeah.
But I think there's a philosophical difference in high fidelity VR versus portable VR. And at some point, these are both going to collide again. Like they're being developed in parallel, but there will be a convergence moment. We're not there yet.
When they find the way to bridge the gap, that will be the winning hardware of that year.
I'll say one last thing about the industrial design of this product. I'm uncomfortable strapping lithium-ion batteries to my face.
Oh yeah.
Are you?
I haven't like.
You don't think about it.
I don't think about it because one thing I noticed about that thing is that it stays cool on my face. I've never even noticed a slight bit of heat coming off the headset.
It's just it's a design decision that is drastically different than say like Magic Leap, which had a pocket sort of puck system for powering it. Like, so at least the battery was on your hip. If it exploded, you're not blind for life.
Man,
I'm just saying, like, it's a design decision that they made to put that on your face. And we know, like, just a few generations ago, we had Galaxy phones exploding.
Yeah.
They're just super lucky that never happened while one was in a Galaxy Gear. You know, that would have set VR back so far. But I think that from an industrial design standpoint, I have to look at that and be like, that's a little concerning. Like, all you need is one bad battery cell, and boy, do you have a nightmarish headline.
TJ, you also said you needed to buy the nose thing for it too, right? Like, it's a little uncomfortable. Was that you that said that? I can't remember.
no. What I said is that like the strap on the Oculus Quest 2 is a little annoying because it's just a cloth strap, and it doesn't really distribute the headset's weight along your skull. It just lets the headset sort of rest on your brow and cheek area, which I find to be a little bit uncomfortable after a long period of time. The headset is still very light, so
but it's not ideally counterbalanced. I haven't had a chance to wear the Oculus Quest 2, but I have an Oculus Quest 1, and it isn't as well counterbalanced as, say, the Rift was.
To which they have a solution in the form of the Elite strap. But the fact that it's like that almost makes that Elite strap sort of an almost predatory extra buy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've been using it with the regular strap, and I haven't felt like, man, I can't deal with this. I need to get that strap, or I just can't experience this. It's just something that, like, to take into consideration.
Talk about a product, though, that, God, does it need a competitor? Please, somebody release a competing product to this. Because
I think we'll see one.
The form factor is there. Like, we know the form factor. We have proof that inside-out tracking can work well enough. And it's informed VR game design too, TJ. You mentioned Beat Saber runs great on it. Tetris Effect runs great on it. Those are games where you're looking forward anyway. You know? I think...
But also, like, Saints and Sinners is a really good experience on it.
Mm-hmm. But I think software design has been informed by the limitations of inside-out tracking. And it's going to be one of those things where, you know, PSVR was the #1 VR headset, still is. People pulled back what they were doing with VR dev because of those limitations, because they knew, I want to ship on that platform. Hopefully Quest becomes that, and we see some innovation occur there. But it's such a weird double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Because VR would not be where it is today without Facebook. But also, VR wouldn't be where it is today without Facebook.
Yep. So, in conclusion, Oculus Quest 2, like, versatile, good hardware. I hope I agree with you. I hope that a competitor comes out, but, like, yeah, I also agree with you. Fuck Facebook to the point that, like, you ruined something that was otherwise a really, really cool step forward for this industry.
Without that account issue, I would vote for it. But I can't recommend it to anyone now. Because it can...
Yeah, that account issue is... especially if you don't know about it, and
if you have
know,
a Facebook account already, you're not in danger. I'll say that.
No, Blake, we had the conversation. Our friend Kyle, who we play Rocket League with, we were talking. He just discovered VR. His boss had a Quest 2, and I gave him some things. He's super sold on it. But I was like, look, here's the limitation. If you're okay with this, get it. If you're not, don't. But I like a product where I don't have to warn people about anything. I can just be like,
that's ideal. Yeah.
You know, like I don't really. I don't know. I'm an iPhone user. I recommend iPhones to people all the time. I never have to think like, well.
It just sucks because it's a conversation that's not brought down by the technology itself and flaws within the technology. It's brought down by stupid business decisions.
Yeah, service decisions almost. But in this world, services, software, and hardware are so intertwined that it's hard to separate it from the overall experience of the hardware.
Mm-hmm.
So what else do we got on this list?
Xbox Series S is the last one.
Oh, PS5 too.
Yeah, the consoles came out. They're a thing.
They're nice.
We got
I
some
like
consoles.
the PS5. I like the PS5. I'm digging it.
I like
the
mine a lot,
PS5
too. Yeah.
I like the Series S too, and I like what people have been doing with it. I like that people have somehow turned it into probably the best emulation machine out there right now.
It's the best vape too.
How shockingly quiet is this giant white mammoth sitting on my shelf?
I have to say, because since we've been talking so much about not industrial design but engineering, my only grievance with the Series S, the name. Besides the name, I guess I have two grievances. My second grievance is I do think the hardware will hamstring developers down the line. I don't know why they would try to pack so much into the Series X, but then take such a step back with the Series S.
I applaud Microsoft for making a console that Japanese people are actually going to be more interested in buying than a PlayStation. Because I don't know any Japanese family that's going to buy a PS5. That thing's too big.
Yeah, they're overtly targeting Western audiences with that, and it is too big. It's too big for me, and I have the room, but like the thing is just huge.
It's very big and it's weird looking.
Yeah,
it's just odd. Whereas I could see, like, if you don't have an Xbox, let's say you completely missed the Xbox One generation, but you are interested in Game Pass, boy, Series S is a very good entry-level console.
It is. It is. And couple that, we can't really nominate it here, but like the what do they call it? The Xbox All Access, the financing plan. Like, I think that's going to make this more accessible to a lot of people. You know?
David, to your point though, like I've actually interviewed several devs about like, because I remember the controversy of now people have to optimize games for the Series X and the Series X, but all of them said the same thing to me, that like making games that work on PC is harder because there's so many more specs they have to like work with. There's a lot more optimization.
It's not about the difficulty of it. I've spoken to many developers for projects for Shack and unrelated to Shack, where they said even with the Xbox One X and PS4 Pro, they just kind of groaned because it's like, more hardware hit, and we're never going to be able to play fully to it because they have to run on the launch consoles. You know.
Okay.
It does hamstring. It does hamstring developers.
Yeah, on the other side, the low end is what usually does.
Yeah, on the low end, like you have to cater to
it's the minimum spec that's really the thing that hamstrings these.
There's somebody that likes computer games. About 15 years ago and before, the PC games and the tie-in stuff would push forward our technology at a regular pace, and then at a certain point, it became, for various reasons, the publishers didn't want to do PC games anymore, obviously, so they weren't investing money into pushing that stuff. And it got dumped onto the consoles, and that was the only hope anybody had on any platform of having things pushed forward. And we got the PS4, Xbox One, and it was kind of a groaner at the time just because they were, pretty low powered for what they did. Not that we didn't get good games, later on, but it didn't move things forward as much as I would have liked. And then this set of consoles came out. The announced specs were pretty crazy, lots of promises, all that. And then when the stuff actually gets here, it's not as much of a groaner as it was before, but especially something like the Xbox Series S. It's just going to hold everything back again. It's like we're making just the tiniest step because everything has to run on it. Like even right now, it's supposed to be better than what we've had, but then you got something like you want to play Assassin's Creed, you got to play it at 1080p, 30 FPS, which is exactly where we've been for the past 7-8 years, and it's disappointing after waiting all this time. And everything is going to have to run on that machine, so that kind of sucks because it hamstrings everything else. Like it holds back computer games and whatever else. So
yeah, that's kind of been happening, I would say, since the 360 generation. Chris, maybe you can say differently, but that's kind of when I was just kind of waiting on console ports rather than waiting on PC ports on console, you know.
Yeah, because even these consoles that are just shipping, they're not even close to what a high-end PC can do. So it's like almost that it's the min spec is like the least powerful console at this point.
The interesting thing about the PS5 and the Xbox Series X is even though they are underpowered relative to PC, and that'll always be the case, their minimum specs, their locked in specs, like something as simple as having SSD. There are a lot of games that I might look at on console now just for the easy experience. I spend 12 hours a day at this desk. Sometimes I just don't want to play a computer game here. But like, I don't know. I was talking with a friend who was playing Demon Souls, and he like loaded a level and went to get a drink, and then the game loaded. He's like, "Oh yeah, games don't have loading time anymore," you know. So I feel like at least with the Series X and the PS5, yes, they're underpowered relative to PC, but for them and of themselves, if they weren't kind of hamstrung by lower-end consoles, they could maybe have gone even further.
Yeah, the patron saint of M2 SSD has come to console land.
Yeah,
I haven't hooked up my Series S yet, but like I've been playing NHL 21 as I mentioned on the PS5, and there's no enhancements for it or anything like that, but it's eerily similar to when you get a more powerful PC and play the same game. Like you notice, there's no graphical enhancements, but everything's running smoother, everything's loading faster. Like you can just tell that the hardware is more capable of handling what they've built. Which isn't necessarily like a point for like best hardware or anything for one of the consoles, but I think that's, you know, something that I think is noteworthy. Is just that for those that are playing older games, like they are still going to run a little better as long as the hardware, in the case of the X and the PS5, are better.
I feel like I've got a good grasp of what like the PS5 is capable of. Like, you know, I don't want to say I've got it fully hammered in, but I feel like I don't have any way to really judge that on the new Xboxes yet. So I'm more inclined to lean towards the PS5 than the Xbox at this point. Just because I have more experience with it.
I can't pick something that fugly as best hardware.
Oh,
it really does. It really does kind of have that like ISR type of design.
I actually kind of like the aesthetic, not because I think it's nice looking. It's not, but like, I don't know. I'm tired of like white or black rectangles. I mean, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But
here's one thought on it.
Okay.
When you opened it up, and you're opening up the box,
yeah,
and there's this circular, weird black thing with a hook on it.
Yeah, no, I don't like.
Ooh,
that.
Frisbee!
What the fuck is that thing? The base of the PS5 is as embarrassing as the Switch dock. They both are Fisher-Price quality plastic. Like,
yeah, it's. Yeah.
You couldn't design your console to not need that?
Yes. Don't you remember that story I wrote, Asif? It was actually larger before the
I know.
Team said, "Hey, could you like not?"
But that you cannot tell me that stand is even no, not best hardware. Horrible.
I'm not arguing for best hardware.
But that's like frighteningly bad industrial design. It seems like bad. At the end of the day, they were like, "Oh crap, we need something to elevate this above the table that it's set on." I don't know. Let's make something. I really do think based on the actual internal design of it, it had to be that way to alleviate heat. Oh, no question. I get why it was done that way, but holy crap, there are 9,000 better ways to do that.
Yeah, they could have taken a better route. I agree.
It just seems ugly and stupid.
They forgot to
and
cool down the RAM.
yeah, and they don't even have heat
Yeah.
sink on the RAM.
Yeah.
Like, it's a bizarre. That motherboard is one of the weirdest things I've ever looked at in my life, and the heatsink is massive on that thing. But yes, it loads really well. It plays well. I have a lot of friends on my timeline who have been having database crashes on their PS5. Has anyone had that?
I've
Yeah,
had a
literally-
couple of.
I chalk that up to just new electronic stuff. That could happen on either. That's. I
But
mean,
like, I
nothing's
haven't had
perfect the day
any
it
of
comes
that
out.
happen. Like, I've been very impressed with the overall experience of the PS5. I'm not
I've had
saying
two recurring problems. One, and I looked this up, and both of these are a thing. One is that my DualSense won't charge from the front USB anymore.
Oh.
It just stops, and the only solution is to plug it in the back, and that's a thing. The second is in rest mode. You risk the chance of the PS5 crashing and potentially bricking the console.
I've heard that the solution to that is,
To the rest mode issue?
yeah, you have to turn games off before you put it into rest mode.
Like, the whole point is not doing that, though.
Yeah, isn't the
Right?
whole
Like,
idea?
I've
we
had
can-
crashes out of rest mode when I was in the review period, but I mean, I equated the same thing where the Series X would literally shit the bed every time you try to quick resume anything.
Yeah, for sure. I
They
agree.
both
This
have got
isn't.
stupid things.
They do. It just kind of sucks that, like, I like rest mode because then I can resume a game from where I was playing.
Mhm.
Otherwise, rest mode may as well not exist. You may as well just go to the turn off option. Like, it
Yes.
Mhm.
sucks. It sucks.
Because if the whole
So-
point is being able to jump into your game really quickly, and rest
Yeah.
mode is the function for that,
Which
if it doesn't
both
work, or
then
if it,
why have rest mode? Like,
yeah, I
yeah.
think that's an issue right now.
That's
But
a
like I
huge
said,
issue.
I don't want. To Chris's point, I think a lot of these are launch issues that maybe we get a firmware update or something that fix these
Yeah,
things.
all electronics have early adopter issues, whether it's a console, a speaker, a DVD player, whatever you get. It's
But that
They absolutely
stand, that was not a that's not a bug.
They absolutely do have.
So
launch
there was like a
issues.
group of guys that looked at that stand and were like, "Yep, we
I have a
approve this
question about
stand."
the stand, maybe because mine was early and not the retail unit, but I've never been able to use the stand because there's no hole in the stand or the console for the
There's no hole.
So here's the thing. Here's how that works. You know how you
But I
turn
looked at a
over your
picture
PS5.
online and there's a hole in other people's stands that I don't have.
I don't have a hole. I
don't
just
have
have
a hole.
two little clips. You line it up with like the X's, where
the X's on the PlayStation.
It's the dumbest fucking thing.
It's worse than the Switch dock, and I
It's
didn't
worse
think
than the
that was
Switch dock.
possible.
And the Switch dock, I mean, for whatever, like, it looks cheap, but it's functional. This thing is like setting up a console should be plug and play. And this is like, I'm like, wait, I have to, where are the holes? Oh, I line up with the X. Like, I had to put my phone
You
down.
can't horizontally lay your console down without
without this
stand.
thing. Like, it's bad.
That's
Without a-
terrible
without a-
design. You don't
If
work.
you don't
the
need the
link.
screw, then what's the screw for? Now I'm really confused.
I don't
You
know.
don't need to
man.
screw.
The screw is for upright position.
Yeah, but how do you put the screw? I looked at this for hours and I could not figure it out.
That's my point.
This is a problem. Like,
Thank
you
you
can't
for
say that
making
like
my
it's
point.
obvious because like this is across the internet. Like, what the fuck is this for? Like, it's not obvious.
I have
It's
friends
not
that
in
like
the manual.
threw
It's
it
not in the
away.
manual.
They like
No,
go like,
it's-
oh,
it's
what's
not
this
even in
piece
the
of crap
manual.
plastic? They just threw it in the
Yeah.
trash when they got the
No.
PS5.
I am loving my PS5, but like, I mean, first of all, to the technical issues, yeah, all launch products have those,
Sure.
but it came out this year, and this is the only year we can really nominate it and discuss it for that.
Yeah.
So it's gonna come up, you know.
So let's get right down to it then. What was the piece of tech on our list that pushed things forward without sucking ass? I argue Mario Kart Live Home Circuit.
I'm
That's
gonna
what
have to
I
say,
like.
like, if I'm getting out a screwdriver to deal with hardware, it better be because I'm putting in a graphics card in my PC.
Exactly.
So I'm absolutely going for the RTX 3060 Ti off of Chris's recommendation.
Okay,
It's
so we're
absolutely
voting.
gonna have to be my vote.
Yeah.
Versus the
RTX.
the PS5, like, yeah, cool, but man, that design, that form
I didn't
factor,
need a screwdriver for anything. I don't know.
or
I
an
don't-
Allen key, or
I
whatever
don't-
the.
Well, I guess I could have.
No,
used
I didn't
a
need
wrench
anything
on
like
it.
that. I don't know.
Oh,
And
well,
the
then what's the
flaps
little
come off.
screw?
Can you like unscrew the flaps from the console?
No.
You just they
Oh, yeah,
pop
you
off.
right off.
I thought there was
Well,
like a
let me ask,
screw
how
that
did you
would
get
have.
the stand onto the bottom of the console? Like, how did you affix that bolt?
I didn't put a stand on the bottom of my console.
Yeah, you're not doing it properly. You are not.
leaving
My
your
console's not
risk of
sitting
your-
up though.
well,
Yeah, your air.
Yeah,
I
if
don't
you want
have that option because
if you
the
want it
thing
vertical-
is bigger than everything in my cabinet, so I can't lay it sideways.
Yeah.
No, I can't. See, I can't have it vertical because it's the size of a skyscraper.
Exactly.
Yeah, from what I
The only
understand,
place
if you have it
it's-
vertical,
But they
you need to put
advertise
in a
it.
screw.
They advertise it as standing up on the
They
side.
do.
Yeah.
Same as
But
they did with the PS2.
No, I attached it the same way.
But
that
if you
David
stand it
was
up on the
describing.
side without the base, it hurts the airflow of the product.
Yes, but I used the base, but I didn't need a screwdriver for it. But I didn't
I
stand
didn't
it
use a
like
screwdriver.
no. I
You don't
just
need a
like
screwdriver for horizontal
No.
use.
Yeah, that's what I'm getting at.
Because
If
the
I'm
thing
standing it
weighs a
vertical.
ton. It's not like it's going anywhere.
Am I
Yeah.
wrong in saying that you need the screw to stand it vertically?
Yes.
Mine's
Then
standing
that's-
vertically without it because I can't figure out how to attach the stupid fucking thing they gave me.
Yeah.
The fact that this
Yeah.
conversation is happening means
that's
there's a product
It
flaw.
felt like I
whole
opened up a
conversation
box
is
of
pointing against
ready-to-assemble furniture from Walmart where they don't give you all the parts or
Yep.
all the stuff, and you're just like,
This
this
is-
fucking thing. And
This
then
is QA 101. Like, it's
Yep.
embarrassing.
Okay.
like
so,
even yeah.
Chris, what are you voting for? 3060?
I'm voting against both of the consoles.
You have to vote for something.
Freedom, man. I guess I'll go with what I nominated, the 3060 Ti, reluctantly, just because I wish that people could buy them.
EJ.
I'm going for Mario Kart Live Home Circuit because it's the only thing that I can see on this list that innovated in its area without being a horrible double-edged sword.
Yeah.
Another vote for Mario Kart.
Wow.
I am gonna go with Chris. Yeah, the graphics card reveals, and I know a couple people that have them, and they have very good things to say. So
He's specifically talking about a graphics card that came out yesterday.
then I'm
Are
going for
you
the line.
voting
Sorry,
for the
I'm going
entire
line, the line.
RTX series?
Yeah, I'm voting for the 30 series line.
Okay. This is gonna get complicated.
Yeah.
Josh.
I have a 3080. It's a great card, but I think that what the 3060 Ti offers makes it more innovative than the other cards on the list.
For the value.
Yeah, for the value alone. And I just honestly, man, like the consoles are exciting, but I just don't think they outweigh it. So I got to go with 3060 Ti.
Okay. Donovan.
Yeah, I'll roll with the 3060 Ti as well.
60. Okay. Blake.
Whoa, that sweet lady Pac-Man, she's got me in her grip. I'm sticking with the arcade one up.
Pac-Man. Steve.
Oh, Mario Kart.
Super Mario. Okay. Ozzy.
I was ready to say the RTX, but I think I actually like TJ's argument that Mario Kart Live is the one thing that doesn't have a downside to it. It's not a Simpsons Frogurt situation where it's like, but so I'm gonna go Mario Kart Live.
Interesting.
I think there's a downside to it.
What's
Yeah,
the
it's
downside? Carpet?
Well, okay, if you have
Space and carpet.
Absolute,
Like, you have to do it
it's
out.
an
You
absolute
can't do it if
garbage
you live in a
remote
small
control
place with
car,
carpet.
and it's a shitty version of that game.
I love remote control
1 +
cars.
1 = -2.
I'm not a math major. So.
Greg?
I'll just so we can't do the just because I know we're not gonna get the RTX whole line. I'll do the 360 Ti. It's
3060 Ti.
Yeah, 3060 Ti. We're getting to
Well,
that point where
This is interesting.
it's gonna be close to build
1,
a PC
2,
and a console and have a
3,
PCB
4.
much better at the same price.
1, 2, 3, 4. So if I vote for Cart, we have a tie, and then Bill and Blake will have to decide. If I don't vote for Cart, we can just win. You know what? I think the 3060 Ti is probably the best value product. It's just a shame because I think if Facebook wasn't such a garbage company, that Quest would probably have swept this category.
Oh yeah. Oh,
yeah, I'd have
I
been
would've
more
voted
than
for
happy
that.
to, but
I was
I
ready to
can't back
jump on the
Facebook.
Oh, we forgot to mention it, but the MacBook Pro with the M1 chip, we didn't nominate it, but just wanted to mention it. But yeah, I'm gonna
For the
vote.
love of God, HTC, Valve, hear our plea. Make a headset that's as good as the Quest 2.
Google's
Or
like,
each-
I
or-
hear your plea. No, anyone but you.
No, it's
HP
not-
is taking orders right now that may be delivered before the 31st. We have to see.
but that's a tethered headset.
Oh, it has to be wireless to be good.
No,
It has to-
but our whole point is that VR is way more accessible in an all-in-one format,
Right.
and Quest is the only one out there right now.
But you have to play cell phone games.
No,
Nope.
There's
Because
a
I'm
link
playing
cable.
Half-Life Alex.
And
I'm
you
But then
playing
it's not
well.
wireless anymore.
Fine.
I know.
What about
but it's
Pico
a
VR?
hybrid, and the fact that you can play like Beat Saber or Tetris Effect in VR without cables is pretty damn impressive.
Yeah, I can play what I want as long as I like.
You know,
I just have to make a
Oculus
decision.
Media.
Hook it up to the computer.
Saints and Sinners, like there's
Yeah,
a
but
lot
it
of
literally,
stuff.
like Chris, do you know how easy it is to hook that cable in? It's like
Yeah, it's
literally
one
maybe
cable.
10 more seconds. Than
It's
I
one
would-
cable, whereas like a VR tethered experience usually involves multiple sensors, tripods, another
Yeah.
cable. Probably
It's just one more
three
plug-in.
cables
Must
involved.
have been
You usually have a power cable, an HDMI cable, and a USB cable. Like it's just more stuff. Like
Oh, I understand the barrier to entry is lower. I was just,
we're just saying that this category needs competition. Otherwise, Facebook's
Right.
going to get away with doing bullshit like this.
but
but
another
yeah.
competitor is just going to have the same cell phone sock powered games. Like, I don't.
What are you talking about? Like I can play Half-Life Alex right now, and it would literally.
Yeah,
take
but
me
you
20
have to hook it
seconds
up to the
set it up.
computer. So then you're back
But
to
it takes me. Look right here. This
Well,
is the cable in this
that's-
box
that's
right
not
here.
his-
It's
that's
not
not
any
his-
harder to put this
Yeah,
together
no.
than
Chris
this
is saying that
cable.
like you have to hook the HTC up too. So why are you bagging on the HTC? It's the same if it's still just one cord.
Because it's
Is that
still
your
a lot
argument?
more setup than it would be with the Quest, and I can literally do it whenever I feel like it.
We
But
don't need
you
to
know
talk
what's
about
the
but
great
but the
thing?
experience is materially
what?
worse as well.
You know
You're
what?
all out of order. We've already voted. The 3060 Ti has won. Shacknews best hardware of 2020. It's not owned by Facebook. It's not a piece of crap Nintendo product that Chris hates. It's great. Congratulations, Jensen Wong. I hope you get more spatulas.
I have one right here. Let me show it to you.
Yeah, it's in his oven.
Oh, I thought he was going to pull it out of the oven. It was behind him the whole time.
Spatulas.
The whole time it was there.
Look at this. The RTX 3080. It is wonderfully
Oh my
crafted.
god.
Jensen, you son of a.
In your PC. And it lights
You
up.
motherfucker.